There's a specific kind of person who is the quiet backbone of every office, every family, and every friend group. They are the ones who get it done. When a crisis hits, people don't look for the loudest person in the room, they look for them. At first, being the reliable one feels like a badge of honor. It feels like respect. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, that respect turns into a heavy, invisible tax, because in the world of human dynamics, there is a dark, unspoken rule. The reward for good work is simply more work. This is the competence curse. It is the psychological phenomenon where your ability to handle weight becomes the very reason people keep dropping it on you, until eventually you reach a breaking point that no one, including yourself, saw coming. Today, we're going to decode the mechanics of this curse, why your brain keeps saying yes when your body is screaming no, and how to stop being the world's emotional and professional dumping ground. Why do some people become the designated carriers of responsibility? Empirical psychology suggests it's rarely about ego, it's about attachment and safety. Many cursed individuals grew up in environments where their value was strictly tied to their utility. Perhaps you were the child who had to be the easy one because a sibling was in trouble or a parent was overwhelmed. You learned early on that reliability equals invisibility, and invisibility was the only way to keep the peace. Biologically, your brain developed a high-functioning response in the prefrontal cortex, specializing in complex problem-solving and forestalling disaster. You became addicted to the competence high, that brief moment of safety that comes after you've fixed a problem. But because you were so good at it, the people around you stop developing their own problem-solving muscles. They become psychologically atrophied, leaning on you until you aren't just a person to them, you are a structural beam. Sign 1. The invisible floor phenomenon. For the average person, a mistake is an expected part of life, but for the competent person, you have accidentally built an invisible floor. Because you never dropped the ball, people forget the ball can even be dropped. When you finally fail, or even just struggle, people don't react with empathy, they react with betrayal. They aren't worried about you, they're annoyed that the utility they relied on is malfunctioning. This creates a psychological trap where you feel you cannot stop because the social cost of resting is higher for you than it is for everyone else. Sign 2. The empathy gap and weaponized incompetence. The more competent you appear, the less human you seem to others. People assume because you handle things so well, you must not be feeling the stress. This leads to a massive empathy gap. You begin to encounter weaponized incompetence, where coworkers or partners do a task poorly on purpose, knowing that your high standards and fixer instinct will compel you to just do it yourself. Your competence becomes a magnet for the laziness of others, and your excellence becomes your own prison cell. Neuroscience shows that carrying weight isn't just a metaphor. When you are the reliable one, your brain is in a state of constant cognitive overload. You aren't just doing your job, you're tracking the details everyone else missed. This leads to allostatic load, the wear and tear on the body and brain that accumulates through chronic stress. Eventually, the weight doesn't just make you tired, it changes your brain chemistry. You become cynical, irritable, and eventually you experience functional burnout, where you are still doing the work, but your soul has checked out. How to break the curse. You cannot simply stop being competent. Excellence is part of who you are, but you can stop being a free resource. Breaking the curse requires 3 radical shifts in perspective. First, allow the drop. You have to let things fail. If you always catch the falling glass, no one learns that the table is tilted. Letting a project lag or a chore go undone is not a failure of character. It is a necessary data point for others to see the reality of the workload. Second, distinguish between can and should. Just because you can do something in 5 minutes doesn't mean you should be the one to do it. Every time you say yes to a task that isn't yours, you're saying no to your own peace of mind. Third, communicate the weight. Competent people often suffer in silence because they think asking for help is a sign of weakness. It's not. It's a sign of capacity management. Start saying, I have the skill to do this, but I do not have the bandwidth. If you are the person who everyone relies on, understand this. Your reliability is a gift, but it shouldn't be a sacrifice. You are a person, not a pillar. It's time to stop measuring your worth by how much weight you can carry before you break. It's time to start measuring it by how well you protect the person carrying it. If this sounds like your life, leave a comment below. What is the weight you're tired of carrying? Let's talk about it. And if you know a fixer who is close to breaking, send them this. They might need to hear that it's okay to put the weight down.